Sarah Jessica Parker just got super real about a Kim Cattrall return, doubling down on what she told E.T. at the And Just Like That premiere.
Is the door open for potential return?
No, I mean, that wasn't something that we ever talked about.
There it was.
Big black box.
Staring at me. I had to have it. I had to have it.
No one's fun anymore! Whatever happened to fun?
You're listening to the Drag Dungeon Podcast with your hosts, Jay and John.
Hey! Welcome back to the broadcast, your favorite podcast. You asked for this shit if you're easily offended. We don't recommend it. You asked for this shit, so here it is.
You. I'll tell you how I'm doing. Not well, bitch.
Yeah, I would, if it were me, I would avoid
microphones, cameras.
Well, well, that, and I would not be talking about the clothes. I would not primarily. I would avoid that. I'd be like, this show is so much more than the clothes. I would be. I mean, I wouldn't be like, ugh.
Well, the whole setup for the show, or the gimmick, was the line they were feeding everybody is, we want to tell interesting stories about women in their 50s. And she's like, the clothes are they're just what they are.
There's dialogue? I don't remember saying a word. I just remember putting on a tutu dress and spinning around. That's all I remember while I get splashed by muddy water.
You know, we improvised the whole season.
Edgy.
Actually, that might be better.
Right? There was never a script. That was just us.
I think that could have been a better.
That's so stupid. She's so shallow. It's no wonder she didn't get nominated for a Tony. Whoever thought she would.
Oh, now you leave her alone. Does she have stallions? What'd she call her fans?
She has a name for her stallions. Oh my god.
No, you know how
the horsey face. I don't know.
Now wait a minute. We don't talk about people's faces. But
I don't think she looks I never thought she looked
I didn't either.
Face. It's so rude. I never thought she is pretty. I never thought she wasn't pretty.
I know. I just have to reiterate because people do go crazy, and I'm like, look, I'm the last person to be like, your fucking face.
I never thought that about her, that she looked like. I mean, we did post once she kind of looked like a xenomorph, but I never would say horse.
Well, I think the xenomorphs are kind of oddly beautiful.
They are. She's pretty. I'm just. You said stallion, so that triggered me.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
anyway.
I did. I started it. I'm sorry. When you said xenomorph that day, I almost fell out. I died. That was some funny shit.
So wrong.
Well, that's our cold open. Our warm open? What is it? We're wide open.
Warm opening. Come inside our warm opening.
Oh, and just like that. Breaking news update, everyone. Beep, beep, beep. No, we haven't been talking about it just like that because nothing's been going on. With the last we knew, let's have a road so far moment. Road so far, we saw the season and rewatched and recapped and remixed and revisited the whole first season, and it was bizarre and unique. What can you say nice about it? Any words?
I think that it pushed the narrative
off a cliff.
Wokeness to a new level as it comes to television shows.
I think I'm
not giving it any more credit than it's in TV land. It's in TV land.
Yeah, look in our on our page, our YouTube page, and go back, and our SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever. We have a whole playlist of just an endless nightmare. It's like a 10-hour nightmare of us bitching about it. If you just want to hear us going, da, da, da. But Kim Cattrall, I love how she spaces out her publicity stunts and goofs. She really lines it up. She's very savvy and smart with how she wants to promote. It's time to promote How I Met Your Father. Who's watching that? Nobody. But she's like, let me stir up some old shit, and maybe people will talk about it. And guess what? We did.
I think it's fun that she has no problems talking about it.
I do
She's
too.
never like, I don't want to talk about that. She's like, they're like asking, and she's like, no. So anyway, Sarah Jessica Parker's a big bitch. Any other questions? Let's go.
I do too. Well, this is what we always wanted. My biggest fear was that she would never talk about it again. I mean, I thought it was classy, but that's not what we are. You know, I don't.
In no way have we ever claimed to be classy.
You know, we're internet trash. We just want to talk about it and have fun and goof on it. But now she's got something. She's doing Queer as Folk Reboot, so I guess she's going to be like, I don't know what she's going to be. I don't know
either.
But so
the mom of somebody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I found out about that she was talking about Sex in the City. I'm just going to call it that because I can't keep saying it just like that. When I was scrolling through her Instagram and I see her doing like a fashion shoot. I love a fashion shoot with a voiceover. And she's just going, the power of, I'm paraphrasing, but it's just like, the power of no. I love saying no.
The power of no. Yes.
I love wearing white gloves, big coats, colorful, jewelry, gemstones, and saying no to HBO, Sarah Jessica Parker, Michael Patrick King, the writers and staff.
Yeah.
I mean, New York City as a whole.
Everyone on the crew.
What do you think about that? Because I know you've been asked many times for coming back if they were to ask you to, and just like that, to come into the next season. So are you disappointing your fans? Would you take...
No, Samantha lives forever in DVD land, and she's as great as she ever was, and I love her. I feel that she's protected, and life goes on.
It's a hard no, then, right?
That's right. The power of a hard no.
Staff, the gaff.
No, hail to the no. I mean, it was very like thinly veiled. Let's just say that, but it was it was peak shade. Really, I love it. But so that caused me to be like, what the hell is she talking about? She's she's giving college. What's that speech they give when you graduate from college? Commencement.
The commencement. Yeah. Well, don't you think it's weird to hear her call Sarah Jessica Parker Sarah Jessica? Like, I always thought that like made me cringe a little bit because I think, do people in life call Sarah Jessica Parker Sarah Jessica? Do they call her Sarah? Do they call her SJP? Like what? Like Madonna. Everybody calls her M supposedly. Well, that's what they used to. And,
I hate that too. Like, I wouldn't.
No, what do you call her? SJ, SJP, Sarah Jessica?
Well, I have a 3-syllable rule. If your name's more than 3 syllables, I get to do whatever I want with your name, because that's asking too much.
Like, what's a 3-syllable name that you would shorten? Jonathan. Ooh.
Well, my name ain't Jonathan, though.
I know it's not.
But I'm saying I'll go up to 3. I'll go up to 3. When it's 4 or more, I know a friend with a 4-syllable name, and I'm like, that's too damn much. But thankfully, she has shortened it for all of us to save us from, But I love a nickname anyway. But SJP, I find that cringy. I would just go with Sarah. But I think her intention is to show that they were really not friends, because that's like her professional name. So she's Sarah Jessica, whoever that is.
Well, she said, they asked her, like, what's your relationship? Were you friends? She's like, it depends on the definition of friends. They were my colleagues. I'm like, okay. In somebody's defense, I don't know who, they always take these shows that have women cast, like they did with the Golden Girls. They did it with Designing Women. All these shows, they always try to pin each other against each other. They always do. Like, somebody hated somebody. They were never friends, blah, blah. They do that with all of these shows. I mean, this is kind of proving that it could be true for some shows, but it's like, I don't know. It does seem like there was always a kernel of truth. Like, it may be a stereotype. I mean, they do it with girl bands, girl ensemble TV shows, anything. And Fifth Harmony. Fifth Harmony. It's the whole premise of Real Housewives is that. And they didn't help with the Real Housewives. They definitely made it worse when it comes to all women things. Like, everybody hates each other, and they have behind the scenes tea of who hates who. Like, Designing Women supposedly, which I don't find this to be this is believable to me, that Delta Burke was difficult, and Golden Girls, Dorothy B. Arthur would give line readings to people. There's all these inside tea. Oh, I never heard that about B. Arthur. That's good. If B. Arthur wants to tell me how to read a line, I'm doing it that way. But whatever. Allegedly, yeah. Allegedly.
they're all who cares? They're all dead. But anyway, Kim Cattrall was doing that fashion shoot for Vanity Fair where they wrote this article, and this is the first time that she gets down in the mud with us and talks about the reboot, which she claims, of Sex and the City, and just like that, she claims she has not watched it, but she has a lot of opinions about it. Funny.
She does for not having watched it, and I don't believe for a second that she would never offered to come back. I just can't believe they would just never even mention it to her, that she didn't even know till social media. Like, never?
I don't believe that either. I don't. Either that or she told her agent, don't even fuck with me with any of that bullshit. Don't even bring it to my attention.
Yeah, that could be.
I certainly don't believe she hasn't watched it. I would absolutely be watching it and loving it, especially after all the bad reviews it got.
I would be, if I were her, I'd be listening to our podcast for sure.
First and foremost.
First one, I would do the same. I would be sitting there with my popcorn, throwing it at the TV, and just, like
pouring champagne.
Yeah.
Ordering stuff off QVC.
And I would do the same. I would totally do that.
It's so great. But so Kim tells, I don't know what she's even promoting. She's just promoting the word no. And
right.
So she goes and does an interview with Vanity Fair, which is so great. Let's get to it. So she's talking about her disillusionment with the franchise, and she tells Variety in her first public comments about the reboot. Cattrall wasn't impressed with the proposed script for the third Sex and the City movie, which was supposed to be in 2016-17. I remember they talked about it on the Wendy Williams show every day. It was like, they made it sound like, just to recap, that everybody was in their trailers waiting, the production crew, everybody was in the streets of New York, ready to start shooting, like ready to hit record on this third movie. And Kim Cattrall was like, I changed my mind. Which I find very hard to believe, and I don't believe.
No, that does not sound like...
I think they were all press, especially some of the lesser characters, like the gay guys, that... they weren't going to get that check. Everybody wanted that check. So, and the fans were pissed, myself included, at the time. But now hearing Kim has told Variety some of the alleged storylines that were proposed for the third movie, including that Brady, Miranda's son, who would have been like 14, 15 at the time, was sending Samantha unwanted dick pictures.
That's so inappropriate in so many levels. Like, a child sending her dick pics. Like, come on.
It is disgusting. I cannot believe.
Gross.
I am so sorry, Kim Cattrall, for my comments back in 16-17 when I was mad at you for not doing this movie. I can't believe they even brought that shit to you.
Yeah, whoever wrote that should be ashamed of themselves. Their mind would even go there.
Yes.
Like, what a perv.
They're like, you know what's great? Let's make Samantha a felon.
Right, a pedophile.
What the fuck?
No, I mean, that would be if she liked it. I mean, it said unwanted, so it really wouldn't make her that, I guess, really. But still, it's still disgusting.
I mean, it's so gross. So I definitely don't blame her for not wanting anything to do with that, because that's gross. And that would probably, I don't know, it just made me feel nasty. I don't like that.
Well, at the same time, it makes me think, like, okay, so that's what made her not want to do it. But she had enough, I'm trying to look at both sides here. She had enough star power in the show that she could have been like, I am not doing this. You need to rewrite this now. And they would have. So it's hard to completely swallow that one storyline made her not want to not do the show.
Yeah, I don't think that was the whole reason. It could have been, for sure. It was a totally valid full reason. And I think that, I would think that they would rewrite it too, but she says here that she was saying, I don't know if she actually proposed this to him or not, but she said, why can't Samantha, who owns her own PR company, maybe she had to sell it because of financial woes after, the crash or whatever, 2008. Was it a crash? I don't know. Something bad happened with the housing market and all that.
Yeah.
And so she's had to sell it to like a millennial in a hoodie or something, or a Gen Z. And she just felt like the story wasn't progressing. I agree with that. Well, sure. Oh no. Variety said, if Kim Cattrall did she feel the story wasn't progressing? And Kim said, that's an understatement. Shade.
Yeah.
She says, everything has to grow or it dies. I love that quote.
I do as well. I think that's good. And she's totally right in this. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I go back and forth because I think like with these shows, she has such star power with it, and it's so important to the show. It's just hard to believe that she couldn't demand them change things and they wouldn't do it. Of course, then there's just Sarah Jessica Parker might be like, I love this storyline, and she's the bigger star, so they might go with her. I don't know.
Yeah, and then, God forbid a woman asks for something, if it's not SJP.
Who would be the writer? Like, who would she ask? I'm just saying this rhetorically or not.
I think Michael Patrick King wrote the bulk of, or at least the outline for the movies, both of them. So I would assume.
So probably that's what I was thinking. I was just throwing that for conversation.
And I'm just like, God, are they really not on good enough terms? I blame him. But let me see.
Well, it's like you think like a man writing for a woman, and that's what he writes. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. That's why I said that like that, to say like. Yeah.
That's a big criticism of Sex and the City, is they're like, there's too much gay man voice in this. And I would have to agree, looking at the old show. Well, maybe the new one too. I don't know what's going on with the new thing. She also said another shady moment was, this is where she says even though Cattrall said she hadn't watched the show, still, the character as depicted on And Just Like That, quote, feels different than the Samantha I played, end quote. And I'm like, well, I thought you didn't watch it. You just said you didn't watch it.
I know! I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. I don't know what you're talking about, but let me tell you, my character on that show was wrong. What?
No, I've never seen it, but what they did was fucking... I mean...
It was terrible. I hated it, but I never saw it. But I hated it.
Never saw it, hated it. Well, I have to say, I could probably feel the same about things that I've never seen or listened to. Sure. Lady Gaga's last 2 albums.
Okay, that is a
3.
great example. There's a lot of stuff that I hate that I've never seen too, so totally.
Variety also asked Cattrall to comment on an interview in which Sarah Jessica Parker said too much drama had happened publicly for Cattrall to ever return to the series.
What does that mean?
I mean, she should shut her... She does not know who she's playing with. Kim Cattrall is better at being mean and shady and cutting to the core. Sarah Jessica does have a nice girl image. That's something Kim accused her of. You're trying to maintain after Kim's brother died, and Sarah Jessica tweeted not an apology, but condolences.
Condolence, yeah.
And Kim was like, quit trying to use my fucking family to keep up your nice girl image. And I was like, oh, man, we ate that up.
Ooh, yeah.
That was so good.
That whole... She does need to keep her mouth shut and to say, oh, there's too much public stuff for her to come back. I just feel like money talks with all of this, so I don't know what these words flying back and forth. I don't know. Do they really mean anything in the end? If there was enough money in there, they both would have kept their mouth shut, probably.
I mean, Kim's 65 or something. Not that that's old, but I'm just saying, when you're in like the 3rd chapter of your life, maybe you just don't give, and you're that rich, maybe you just don't give a fuck. And she's still working.
That, and her, right, and her, this is all just for conversation. It's not saying any of this is right or wrong. It's just for conversation purposes. Like, with her, her character and her age, throwing those things together, I mean, would she be more settled down now? Like, maybe that didn't translate into the show,
the colorful,
what it was.
sexy.
Do you know what I mean? Like, would she have calmed down and less like having sex all over the place and whatever, which is what her character was. So how would they progress? Like, what would you have liked to see her character doing now?
I would like her to be...
I'm just throwing this on you if you need time to think about it.
Well, I'll just say, if I had been given her requirements, which sounded like she would have preferred that the character not be naked all the time, which makes sense, and not be so hyper-focused on sex, because in the second movie, when they were in Abu Dhabi or whatever, they had her so horned up and using yams on her pussy and shit, and it was just like... You couldn't go any further with the sex scene. They had taken it to a fever pitch of, this is it. So there's only nowhere to go but down. So I would like her to be focused on something else. Love still would have to be involved in some capacity, but just not fucking wild. I don't need to see. She's paid her dues with the fucking scenes, sex scenes. Pardon my being crass, but so let me see the last thing she says here.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So when Variety asked her about Sarah Jessica's comment about the too much drama thing, Cattrall replied, "So nobody has to worry about that. It should have never happened anyway." So instead she's focusing on her new things. And then she just closes it out by saying that we were never friends. She just reiterates we were colleagues. So she's saying none of those girls are her friends now. Now everybody's in deep shit with Kim Cattrall. No Cynthia Nixon, no Kristen Davis. Not
Do
all.
you think it's because like maybe they didn't stand up for her in a way? They didn't have solidarity. They were just like, whatever you want, Sarah Jessica, SJP, SJP, whatever.
Yeah, well, they have. Yeah, they clearly have like a mob mentality and like a gang up situation. You saw what they did with Mr. Big.
You can't sit with us. Yeah.
You can't sit with us. You saw what they did with Mr. Big, whatever, Chris Noth, which to my knowledge, none of those allegations have been proven, taken to court, police reports filed. I haven't heard anything about that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yet they felt the need to put out a statement condemning him and deleting his scenes, additional scenes in the flashback for the show, which I don't know that made a difference to us, but it probably hurt him, and it definitely hurt his wallet and fucked his career up.
Yeah.
So if they're not going to stick up for, maybe that's how they all really felt. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of a group statement about something.
No, and when you have a scene where these girls are like kiki, besties on screen, and then you have Kim Cattrall on the outside looking in, it's like, well, she ain't looking in, but, on the outside, it just makes them look like fucking bad.
Yeah.
It just makes them look really bad, so they could have probably handled their end.
I think so. So in the nutshell of this article is, no. She's saying no.
No, that's what it should have just been titled.
No for me. No. But she did say...
Tchotchke.
By the Tchotchke. No. She did kind of acknowledge that the first season of And Just Like That is basically the third movie. And when Variety asked her, is that the gist of it? And she said, yeah, that's how creative it was. And I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
So she gave us like 4 or 5, wham bam shady moments. And we live. So thank you, Kim, for, putting food on our plate and gossip in our mouths and ears and eyeballs.
And I hope she gets some success, because I've never seen How I Met Your Father, and the Queer as Folk thing, maybe. Maybe. But
I feel like
the fact that these are on Peacock, like, I want her to have some success to rub into everyone's faces.
Yeah. Well, she's at an established place in her career. She could never work again and still be a legend. So that's the great thing. Kind of like when Delta Burke, who were, by the way, if you know our history, we're back on good terms with Delta. So I think that when Delta Burke left Designing Women, we've talked about this before, they brought on 3-4 people to replace her. To do that lifting.
Same with Suzanne Summers from like Three's Company, to go back to that, because that was such a famous thing that happened back then when she left because she wanted more money, and they were like, or whatever, allegedly. She was like, no, so they tried to replace her and failed. This is just never works.
Okay, so that's wrapping up our And Just Like That news. We will be sure to report back with any other important news, but we want to thank Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Please go to manscaped.com and use our code DRAG20 at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. We love the products. And we have to tell you, the sweaty sack summer is approaching. That's their term. Sweaty sack summer.
It is a real thing.
Actually it is. Sweaty sack summer is approaching, and it's time for you to prioritize the comfort of your crotch. That's why the kings of crotch comfort, Manscaped, have spent 2 years designing the most comfortable boxer briefs out there. We've had the honor of testing out these new boxers, and we can say that they are the softest fabric of any underwear you will ever wear. It's so breathable and lovely. A cooling element. And they even trademarked the jewel pouch, TM, so it's serious. To protect and keep everything aerated. Aerated? No, that's the wrong word. In place and cool. I think it's time you invest in your family jewels. We do. So let your bulge breathe, girl. And go get 20% off and free shipping. Now, we love free shipping. And 20% off at manscaped.com. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Welcome back to the broadcast, your favorite podcast. shit if you're